Hello, hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. Today, we have an amazing Protoss vs. Terran. I've heard some really good things about this game, but I will not spoil anything for you. Don't worry, I haven't watched it either, but I do have some inclination of what's going to happen in this game. So let's go ahead and introduce these players, these wonderful players. Up here in the top right-hand corner of GSL Daybreak, we have the orange Protoss player. His name is Cicero. And with that friendly banter that's going on, I'm going to go ahead and introduce his opponent down here in the bottom left-hand corner of GSL Daybreak, spawning as the pink Terran. His name is ChaShui. ChaShui. I actually don't know how to pronounce it. I need to ask both of these guys. Both of these guys are actually full-time employees at Amazon.com. Both of them Master League players, so we can expect some great play from the both of them. And it really just goes to show, you know what, even while holding down a full-time job, both of them very, very hardworking, you can still be pretty gosh darn good at StarCraft. So always something to aspire to for all of you out there who are in school or have full-time jobs of your own. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and just kind of talk a little bit more about the game. Looks like both these players going for the 1 gate and 1 racks expand. We can see in the production tab they're almost lined up as both of them actually take the same amount of time to build. Kind of interesting note. And just in terms of workers, it looks like, of course, Protoss is crawling slightly ahead of the Terran player in workers due to that chrono boost. But do not worry, Terran players, he is going to be able to account for that with those gosh darn good mules. Once he does get that barracks finished, we can be expecting an orbital command to start immediately there. Look at that perfect timing. Very, very good timing indeed, since it is that master level of play. And look at that little SCV hiding from that probe. It says, I have watched the GSL and I do know about the power of a probe and its tasing powers. I do not want to be annoyed. So he goes ahead and hides until that probe leaves, then throws down that command center. Meanwhile, it looks like the Nexus going down from Cicero. So both these players are looking to do that good old macro game. This is a very common thing to do in this matchup these days, where both of these players and both of the races in general tend to go for those 1 racks and 1 gateway expands. They're very safe to do as long as you know how to hold properly against a lot of those all-ins, and you do a good job scouting, as it looks like Cicero does have a pretty decent amount of information. Does get his probe corners, poor guy. Doesn't realize that Dustin Bratter put destructible rocks here, so unfortunately he's just gonna get picked off. This Marine's gonna happily walk back home and say, hey Ben, I just killed something. What do you have done today, you lazy bum? You should get a job. Jeez, what are you doing over here? There's nothing happening at the bunker, man. You need to go home. Anyways, fortunately for Cicero, his zealots are not quite as angry and competitive with each other. They're just going to be chilling and be like, what's up, bro? Yeah, Protoss, what up? But in the meanwhile, those probes will be transferring over very soon as the Nexus is completing up at the same time, and this orbital command is morphing in, so both these expansions going up around the same time. We can see everything is just pretty much even at this point. We see 2 probes being produced at a time, but it's going to be very important to note, where is the chronobus going to be spent? It looks like the chronobus being spent on the Nexus at this point, and a little bit on the warp gate technology. This might be a little bit of just a safety play at this point in time, as there is no 3rd gateway thrown down just yet, so we aren't going to be seeing anything super aggressive at this point in time. A lot of Protoss players do like the ability to just throw down 3 or 4 gateways and putting on a little bit of pressure, but for now, it looks like Cicero is just going to depend on that good old Stalker micro, the Stalker micro that you can do against Marines. Oh, so much fun to do, especially when you do it right. You go like, oh yeah, all my Stalkers still alive, still well, good and healthy, and all of your Marines are dying. It's like they just got the plague or something, but oh no, Cicero not paying attention to the Stalker ends up going to lose it. With the dough. I'm not sure if he was doing at the fact that he just lost the Stalker or my terrible grammar with that, but either way, a very painful experience. Man, you know, as I was saying before, it feels great when you do that great micro with the Stalker and end up lowering the health of all of these Marines, But when you end up losing it, it's just like, oh, it's the most painful thing. And now ChaShui knows that he has a very good time to move out, and it is so important. You hear a lot of commentators talk about, you hear me talk about also, how important it is to keep that stalker alive, and this is exactly why, because just losing one of those stalkers means you're going to lose a huge portion of your army. At this point in time, look at this very large and scary marine count, and look at this. Losing one of those stalkers is losing a third of his stalker force, almost like a seventh or an eighth of his army. It does make a big difference, and look at this actually really cute play by ChaShui, looking for those proxy pylons. Actually, probably not looking to do a huge amount of aggression. He is attack rallied over into that natural, but he is likely going to be paying attention. He is that Master League player, so we can already see he is not just going to let his units meander around and die. But look, he might actually be able to get the sentry if he is paying attention, and it looks like he does manage to get off the shields of the sentry, but the sentry does manage to looks like some good stutter step micro back from these Marines. They are doing a good job picking off those zealots, but once the zealots clear out, it looks like the probes will be able to tank some of that damage, and it looks like at this point in time, the Protoss player is going to be able to clean up this force and this push with no problem whatsoever. Only a couple of those probes lost. Actually a pretty decent number of those probes lost. I assume that I think two of those probes were lost during the scouting phase, but the remaining 3 were killed during that engagement, as well as those zealots, but the zealots are very easily replaced. And let's go ahead and take a look at the tech that's been going on during all of that good old pressure. It looks like the robotics facility being thrown down already, and just producing that observer that just popped. So he will be able to get some good scouting information. You can see on the minimap that not really too much has been scouted. He likely can assume at this point that there has been an expansion thrown down. Otherwise, that push would have been much more scary. But still good to get a good idea of exactly what your opponent is up to. Also, these 3 gateways, with 2 more being added on, and it looks like a 6th gateway. Yes, I can do math. 3 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 6. 6 gateways going down, and oh wow, I have 2 forges, so it looks like Cicero going to be gearing up for that late game play. But let's go ahead and take a look at what this observer is going to end up scouting. We do see quite a few barracks over here, a good number of tech labs as well. We can already see stim and combat shields. Well, stim is already done researching, but combat shields going to be finishing up very, very soon. This observer already scouting out and seeing exactly what's up, and most importantly, the medevacs are coming out at this point in time. We already see 2 on the field, and oh my god, a great turret placement and a little bit of sloppy control by Cicero. Although I don't blame him too much, it is very difficult to keep track of when your observer is about to run into a missile turret. You just expect that you're going to go ahead and send it over to the natural expansion, then suddenly it's like, your observer's under attack, oh no! And then it's gone. So it's very painful. I'm a Protoss player myself, so I can kind of sympathize with that. Unfortunately, though, that is going to put him a little bit in the dark to this push that's coming up across the map, and there is that nice little rallying attack points that you can steal if you are another player that is looking to move up in the ranks. Just doing this kind of cute thing when you do your move out, it's no big rush to kind of like just immediately barrel down the opponent's throat, charge. You can move around, pick off some proxy pylons, and that way if you decide when you get over here, you know what, I don't feel safe or comfortable really just charging up this ramp, you can go ahead and just pull back, and you know what, you'll know, hey, I know a bunch of places that there are not proxy pylons, and if there was, there definitely aren't there anymore. And it looks like this probe looking to potentially move down and plant the 3rd, but he's going to go ahead and get denied. A nice little scan over here is going to reveal exactly what unit composition there is. And it looks like with those units, it looks like ChaShui is going to feel comfortable moving in. A couple of force fields being thrown down, not really trapping all of the units that he might have wanted to. The medevacs healing up those stim units also, so they're looking pretty gosh darn healthy. The sentry's getting picked up. The Immortal's not really doing too much damage. It looks like this is a mostly Marine heavy army with the Marauders in the back. Some nice pickup micro going down from ChaShui, the Terran player, and keeping those Marines alive. And it looks like once again doing some additional pickup micro. It looks like at this point in time he's going to be able to pick up all of the sentries. No sentries remain at this point in time. A round of zealots being warped in. That's going to allow him to clean up, but unfortunately Immortals and Zealots, the remaining units of Cicero, the Protoss player, do not attack air. So with the liftoff and all 3 medevacs staying alive, he's going to be able to retreat. He did end up losing quite a bit of his army, but beautiful play from the Terran player over here. We can see he took his third during that entire aggression, so he's going to be gearing up for that long game again. He already knows, hey, I already denied my opponent's third when I killed off that probe moving around, and once again I was saying, doing that move around, making those roundabout paths rather than just barreling down the front over at this ramp really paid off and allowed him to deny that third, allowed him to get up his own third safely because he knew that those units had to go there. And it looks like a drop going around, but at the same time Cicero gearing up for some of his own aggression. Cicero moving out across the map and planting that proxy pylon. But it looks like at the same time ChaShui moving out with his army. Are these armies going to cross paths? It looks like, do they see each other? No, it looks like now Cicero sees at least ChaShui and vice versa. With these small armies, it looks like these stalkers going back on the wrong path, and these sentries throwing out a couple force fields to try and delay that army, but it looks like it's not going to work. The stim is going to be able to pick off a couple more of these sentries, and it is actually a huge loss as he has already lost all of his sentries once, and it is going to be so painful to lose them again. They are such a big gas investment. Luckily for Cicero, he did force the stim on the army twice, maybe 3 times if I missed one. And that is going to be a little bit painful for that medevac energy, but it is so painful to be trading a medevac energy for just plain straight up gas. But here we do see the drop that we saw going around the top side. Now going to be able to snipe off the main nexus. Wow, a great play from ChaShui, the Terran player. He manages to get the nexus and get out with, look, only 2 Marine losses, potentially just 1 Marauder, and we'll never really know. Poor guy already got lost. We don't really know what exactly was in there. May his death rest in peace. Looks like a spectator just commentating, dang, Terrans are so mean. Oh man, sniping off that one natural, or that main expansion. It looks like now the third also, oh man, that was also picked off and at least forced to cancel. So now the Protoss player down to just 1 base, a very rough situation at this point in time. We can see here 16 workers already killed by the Terran player, so doing a great job staying up on the work count. We can see 66 to 40. That's so painful. Such a painful situation to be in, as a Protoss player really needs a miracle to really make a comeback into this game. He does have those 2 Colossus out, and that's definitely going to help as the Viking count is only now getting started, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Hold on, I'm just going to go ahead and set my stats to busy so that we don't see any more of those. By the way, shout out to On Fire, as he is the one who hosted that tournament that I am casting, the one that I keep saying round of 16, round of 32, etc., etc. So props to him for hosting that great tournament, getting some great games. But anyways, let's get back to this game, as this game is already pretty exciting. We see Ghost Cloaking is going to be coming down, so it looks like we might be seeing some cool EMPs. That's definitely going to help out against that nice immortal count. Oh, actually no, it looks like the Protoss player only has 2 of those immortals left. Still very useful, as it does lower the shields of those zealots. It definitely helps out with that AoE splash damage, basically. And once those Templar archives do finish researching that Psionic Storm and the High Templar morph in, it's also going to be very useful for EMPing the High Templar. So we're going to have to see how that goes. It looks like, wow, just take a look at the base count of the Terran player versus the Protoss player. We see the Protoss player just reestablishing his main base pretty recently, and now just needs to start mining that gas, as that's going to be the most important thing for our Protoss player. And also getting that gas over at his third expansion. He's really going to need it, but at the same time, we do see a drop. And but at the same time, I was going to say the Terran player up to 5 bases, so it's going to be very difficult for the Protoss player to come back economically. He needs to make something happen, but this drop is going to really force the Protoss player to stay back at home. And look at that, all 5 zealots getting picked off before anything could be done. One of the medevacs does get fed back by the High Templar, and that does cause one of them to die. So not all of these Marines and Marauders will be able to escape. Only 1 medevac, but where are the units? The units are over at the third. Oh no, the Protoss player trying to defend his third. He knows that's such an important position to defend at this point in time, as if he does not have that third, his economy is basically dead in the water. But losing the robotics facility, losing a couple more of those warped in units, and now it looks like at this point in time the medevac is going to clear out with only 2 empty spots. And unfortunately for the Protoss player, he just does not have the available minerals and gas to spare to warp in those very important stalkers to pick off those medevacs. So it looks like the medevac is going to get away scot-free. Sentries do not do enough DPS to pick off those medevacs safely, and Terran player ChaShui looking to be in a great position at this point in time. Ghost coming out, a huge second army already out, Vikings already out as well. And this drop manages to survive in positioning almost as if it wants to go back in at some point. And meanwhile, it looks like the Protoss player is trying to take a 4th expansion, but meanwhile, his natural expansion is basically mined out. 170 minerals left on some of these patches. I wouldn't be too surprised to see some of his gas. No, it looks like his gas is still relatively healthy just because he has not been mining from it for a good while, but really it's just such a painful position. I do love this play from Cicero, though, positioning this High Templar over here with enough energy to feedback. He does know that those medevacs have a lot of energy, so one thing you can do to prevent those drops and really make a comeback into this game is feedbacking them as soon as they come in, really just killing off a huge supply of units in those medevacs as soon as they make their wary little head into your main and say, "No, get out of here, this is my base." High Templars are pretty like upper class. They can be a little bit, you know, prideful. I'm trying to find the word without being offensive because now I just said upper class. So now I'm going to be in the awkward situation. I'm going to avoid the whole thing by just saying, guys, we have nuclear missiles researching. We do have nukes on the way. This is going to be amazing. I love it when I see nukes, and this is actually the tip-off that I got when I was sent this replay, that this replay did have nukes. So we'd be expecting those in the near future from our Terran player. He is already maxed, so maybe once we see those nuclear missiles, it looks like the nuclear missiles are finished. We're going to be seeing them. Where is it? Where's the nuke? We're going to be playing the game. Where's the nuke? Here's the nuke over at the 3rd expansion. Does Cicero notice it? Oh no! The ghosts are over here out of range of the cannon. Oh my god, he almost moved his entire army on! And all of the probes at the 3rd expansion go down. Look at the workers lost tab. 36. Oh no, and the snipes going down. So brutal, and now he does know where those ghosts are, but those psionic storms are just not going to be able to kill him in time. And where was the observer when he most needed it? Oh man, that's so brutal. One ghost even survives, having to throw down another psionic storm. We see only one psionic storm, or one High Templar has enough energy for additional psionic storms. Such a rough position. He is already lacking in that gas, and now he does have a good bank of minerals built up, but he needs to take these gas geysers over at his 4th expansion. He needs to make a comeback into this game. Having lost all of those probes, he needs to start using his Chrono Boost as well. But where is the next nuclear missile located? It looks like a triple nuke over at the 4th expansion, it looks like, and that Psionic Storm does go down. It doesn't manage to kill the Ghost, though. Ghosts require 2 Psionic Storms directly on top of them to be killed. Just a little cute FYI, but it looks like at this point in time, these 5 Ghosts are going to be able to not only snipe away additional High Templar, but they're also going to be able to clean up that 4th expansion if they decide to. No additional nukes left, so it looks like now they're going to have to clean up that Nexus with just their little pincy little guns. I've never seen in reality a building collapse because of sniper rounds, but I guess if you have enough snipers shooting at a building, they will eventually collapse. But look at over here, another drop from the Terran player. Great play, just so great at keeping on that constant pressure with those nukes, with those drops, and really just forcing the Protoss player to stay back if he ever tries to move out and just go for that big all in, I don't care anymore. You know, he's just going to end up losing everything. He won't be able to reinforce, and it makes it very difficult for Cicero to come back in this game. And really, if you have a lead in a game, this is the way to do it. Keep constant aggression with those drops without trying to lose too much, and really just trying to trade efficiently. You notice that whenever he did those drops, he always made sure that he tried to come out without losing all of his units. Minus that last drop, he did end up losing quite a few of them, but wow! How is this possible? That's going to be so painful. Guys, this is another tip for you Protoss players. Don't position your buildings at the edge of your base when there is a little edge like this. That will allow for crazy things like nuking. Oh man, that is so painful. Losing your double forge is going to put the Protoss player even further behind. We can take a look. His upgrades are 1, 1, and 2. 1 shield upgrade. That's actually very nicely done. But we see 3, 3 already done for ChaShui, and that's going to be so difficult to come against. Not only does he have the larger army, not only does he have the ghost, not only does he have the better supply, but he also has the better upgrades at this point in time. It's going to be so difficult for Cicero. I keep saying this, to come back in this game. Does he even have observers out on the map? Man, he really needs. He only has 1 observer. I think I would actually like to see Cicero spend just a little bit more minerals and stuff to get out a second observer. It would really help against these ghosts. But looks like that 1 observer well positioned for these ghosts. Manages to snipe off all of those ghosts. That's definitely a nice win. He does have this this 5th up and ready to start mining from, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to keep it with this paltry force, as the Vikings are going to come in. They're going to be able to immediately snipe out these Colossus, even though they do take a couple of Scion Storms. I think it's going to be worth it, considering no Colossus will be left at this point in time. Wow, some great Scion Storms, taking off every single one except for 1 Viking. This 1 Viking being one of the ones that actually got a Colossus kill. I'm going to go back home and say, you know what? I survived some hard times, but you know what? I was the ace pilot. I was the best pilot in my division, and I had a lot of losses, but we showed those boys who was boss, and it looks like now a couple more aggressive stances and moves from ChaShui. And honestly, I feel like at this point in time, he is just trying to play patiently. Doesn't want to lose to any kind of big Scion Storms. That is a lot of High Templar. Oh my god, if this is what Cicero could use, this is exactly what, if Cicero could use something, this is exactly what it is. But some great stutter step micro back from the Terran player. If ChaShui can just get those High Templar, he will be able to take this game, I feel. But some great Scion Storms going down. The High Templar are going to be in danger of this Legendary Fortress, but the Immortals doing some great damage. Will they be able to pick it off before these High Templars start sustaining huge amounts of damage? Look at how many Psionic Storms! Oh my god! An obscene amount! That is absolutely butt-shit crazy! And unfortunately for Cicero, he is now officially out of Psionic Storms. Take a look. 0 Psionic Storms left at this point in time. And his army was kind of really pushed back a pretty gosh darn far. But he is alive, and he has his 5th base up and running. His opponent's army supply has actually gone down by quite a bit. He does still have a pretty substantial force considering Cicero's current force, but I still feel that Cicero really did a great job. He might actually be back in this game at this point in time. He does have this observer position over here, and kind of interesting position. I do feel like, wow, that's a lot of gateways actually. And with that charge, and hopefully with his +2 weapons finally starting once again, hopefully he will be able to catch up in those upgrades. The one other advantage that Cicero does have is that ChaShui is maxed out in upgrades. Now you might be thinking, that is not an advantage for your dragon. You need to get your facts checked. Well, you know what? That actually means that ChaShui cannot go further up in upgrades. So as long as Cicero keeps turning out those upgrades, staying alive, he will be able to eventually catch up in upgrades. Looks like some nice play from Cicero, getting those planetary fortresses, but he has to be very careful. He does not want to lose too many of these units. And it looks like some great EMPs going down from those ghosts. How many ghosts are there actually? Only 4 ghosts, as we saw in that last engagement. Cicero did a great job of picking up all of those ghosts, and now he does have the opportunity to have those Archons out, as a lot of those ghosts are low on energy. None of them, well actually it looks like 2 of them do have the energy for that EMP at this point in time, but still very limited amount of energy. And oh no, it looks like another force of Marines. The constant aggression from ChaShui, the Terran player, the pink Terran player. And don't be fooled, pink is actually a very aggressive color. It descends from red, which is just, I think, known through a couple of research things that, red people associated with being more aggressive. Does allow him to pick off that 5th expansion that was his 4th expansion initially, but it does get picked off, and wow, this game is actually insane. It's just ChaShui trying to beat down Cicero. Cicero coming back with some amazing plays, but then getting beat back down again. We can see the supply differential, almost a 60 supply difference at this point in time, and it's going to be very difficult once again for Cicero to make a comeback in this game. He's trying to reestablish this base down here in the bottom right hand corner. But one advantage, once again, you have to look at it in the bright side. As this game goes on, oh my god, there's so many mules. But as this game goes on, ChaShui is going to have less and less expansions that he's going to feel safe taking. He can take this expansion over here. He might even be able to take this expansion. But if Cicero decides to take one of those expansions and decides to successfully defend one of those, then ChaShui is going to have a hard time staying up in bases at this point. As, you know, he has been mining from his third for a much longer period of time. Oh my god, there are some great nukes going down. Hopefully Cicero will notice that this third is getting nuked once again. But if he does, and he does successfully manage to pull this, oh my god, he is not noticing. Oh no, Cicero! Cicero, pull out your probes! Pull out your probes! Oh, 100 workers killed at this point in time. Oh, so painful. This one probe was in the assimilator just because where'd everyone go? Buddy, hey, Tim, where did all the other probes go? Tim's just like, I'm getting the hell out of here, man. I don't know about you. Then Bob over here is just like, what? Lonely, I am so lonely. Luckily for him, Tim decided, okay, fine, stop singing, sucking, so emo. Oh my god, some great snipes going down from those ghosts as I'm singing very old school songs. Wow, a Cyanic Storm on his own army just to clear out that ghost. It was painful but necessary. Wow, some great play from the Terran player once again, able to snipe off that third expansion with that, you know, you might be thinking, hey, it's getting low on minerals, but it still has that oh so important 2 gas geysers that he really needs at this point in time. We can see he's getting pretty low in that minerals and gas. But still some awesome plays from our Terran player. Really just, as I said, keeping on that constant aggression. Here it is again, the 4 medevac drop. What is there to respond nearby in the main? The entire army is over at the 5th expansion. Looks like Cicero has had enough. He has been battered and bruised constantly over and over again, and he's just sick of it. He's going on the counter aggression, but no, it looks like he decides there's no expansion over here, so he just decides, I need to go back and defend, try and get rid of those ghosts over at my 4th expansion. But meanwhile, he's losing his entire freaking base. And what is there going to be to reinforce Cicero? Already down so far in supply, and a good sized army over here by ChaShui to defend. I'm not sure if Cicero is going to be able to break it. He does have a very nice unit composition, but this planetary fortress is making it very difficult for his Zell to do a lot of damage, and those upgrades still have not caught up. He's only at 2-1-2. The Marines and Marauders and the Ghost doing a great job just clearing off the constant Zealots and Archons that are getting wolfed in, but unfortunately with all of the base Cicero basically getting massacred. Only 4 gateways operational at this point in time, with I guess this 5th gateway over here. Way to prove me wrong. God, what a angsty gateway, just saying no. You know what? I'm not gonna let the caster be right about something. But the point is down to 17 probes against 60. Actually, I think that might be 80. 80 SCVs. So this game was over, and Cicero decided GG. Well played by both of these players. Cicero looked like he actually had a comeback going from such an obscenely uncomebackable position. But those amazing Psionic Storms with that like 13 High Templar army and that Charge Light army, despite all of those crazy stutter step micro position or moves from ChaShui, was able to come back into a seemingly comebackable position. Only 40 supply down rather than 90 supply that he was down for such a long period in this game. But unfortunately, ChaShui knows how to play Terran. He knows how to do that constant aggression, dropping over here, moving his army around over from the bottom position, pushing down in the center with ghosts and doing the nukes at the 3rd. Just unrelenting aggression. Actually, a Dark Shrine down. I wonder if there were actually any Dark Templar made. I think that definitely could have helped out a little bit. But with this massive number of orbital commands, it looks like, okay, that's not an orbital command, but still a large number of orbital commands, he still would have had a substantial number of scans to deal with that. So well played by both of these players. Thank you so much to ChaShui for submitting me these games. Awesome games with awesome nukes and awesome Psionic Storms. I love it. What else more could you ask for? But that's going to be it. So congratulations to ChaShui for being 1-0 in this best of one, not a show match series. And yeah, submit replays that you want casted to FearDragon64@gmail.com. And subscribe to my Twitch TV account at twitch.tv/FearDragon64. But wait, before you go to that site, don't leave yet. You need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Over here, that's youtube.com/FearDragon64. But you already know that because you're already here. And I also have a Twitter account where I broadcast whenever I release any videos. That's twitter.com/FearDragon64. This has been Fear Dragon. This has been a very long cast, so thank you so much, and